Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 242 of the Throwdown Thursday podcast. This is a very special episode because, as you can see, we are, we're live now, but not when you're watching this. We are here with multiple guests, and we are, of course, as always, broadcasting live from the Pat Cave of Magenta Manor. And did I say who I was yet? I didn't say who I was yet.
No, who are you?
I am your host, Patsy Hall, but you can call me Patsy the Angry Nerd. And I am joined, of course, by my co-host on the show and my co-host in life. I almost bonked you because I never know which way to go when I'm looking at myself on a screen. She is the Baroness of Bordeaux, the Countess of Cabernet, the Mistress of Merlot, the Real Housewife of Transylvania, the Michael Phelps of Wine, the Queen of the Monsters, and an honorary Lizzie. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ashes My Nightmare.
Did you say Mistress of Merlot?
Did I?
I don't know. Maybe I kind of zoned out.
I heard it. Okay, I did say
okay,
it.
Good. I think we need to make a checklist.
I think I do need a checklist.
For every time you can just check it. I called her this. Okay, I called her this. Just make sure that I look over the checklist every week.
Make sure I'm not calling you stuff that you don't want me to call you. But as you saw, we are part of the Dorkening Network, and as such, we are brought to you by Deadly Ground Coffee. Once you go deadly, you don't go back. Yeah, I know that. I don't know what it is. But yeah, now you're throwing me off. I'm getting messages. Ooh, kind of.
So I think we kind of need to explain something a little bit for people who might be listening to the audio version of this and not watching the video. So we are both recording live audio and video. So if you're listening to this via your usual listening spot, if you're interested, you can go to YouTube, to the Throwdown Thursday channel, and check out the video and all of our fabulous guests who are joining us today, who are going to be announced in just a moment.
Yes, and we're going to do this in phonetic alphabetical order. No, I'm just kidding. We're just going to do it in whatever order I feel like. First, we are going to introduce, let's go with... podcaster and Kaiju expert. He's written a book called Dargola, and now I can't remember the Megadrak. That was the other one, not regular Drac, but Megadrak. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Mr. Christofer Nigro. Chris, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. It's an honor to be here. Honor to have you actually mention and mispronounce my Kaiju's name. That is an incredible honor.
Oh. Sorry, I've only ever seen it written.
Dargala.
Oh, Dargala. I'm sorry. I guess it's like Run with the Wind. It's one of those things I've only seen it written.
Apology accepted, considering I was up an entire night picking up that name.
Well, I appreciate you putting the record straight, so now I know that it's Dargala. Thank you very much. Next, we are moving on to horror actress and model and all-around bloody badass making her return to the show. It's Jess Snyder.
Hi.
How are you doing today, Jess?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm glad that we have so many awesome people joining us on the show today. Next up, we have a wonderful young lady who is super awesome, big anime fan, loves the monster stuff, and making, I think, if not her debut, one of the first times she's ever been on a show.
Yeah, no, this is my debut, so you're welcome.
Awesome.
And I'm very excited to be here. But yeah, no, I'm doing very good. I'm super monstered up. I did a whole slew of the Godzilla movies and the Kong movies before we did this, along with some of the comics. So I'm excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
And you're wearing an amazing shirt today.
I am. How much do you tip an Exorcist shirt? Yes, plug. No. It was comfy and I had it, so.
That's always good.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have some people call him Second Patsy, and the only person who has dressed up as me for Halloween that is not living with me. It is Powerful Brandon. I gotta figure out what that clicking sound is.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But hi everyone. I'm glad to be here. This is the umpteenth time that you guys have graciously asked me to be on your podcast. And I think for tonight, dealing with this particular topic, many people in the audience, once hearing me speak about what it is we'll be talking about, will ask the same question I did when you asked if I wanted to be on this episode, and that is, why?
That's generally the response we get. Usually it's like, yes, for $40. I don't know what that sound is. Leo, if you have any ideas. And speaking of Leo, it is the I don't know what's the official title, the Grand Exalted Ruler of the Dorkening Podcast Network.
I go with Poobah. Yeah, Poobah, Grand Poobah.
That's a good one. I'll accept that. Jeez.
Yeah. And you said, sorry, I'm peeking out a little bit. $40. Do we all get $40?
No, you have to ask
In
for the
Monopoly
$40.
money, yes.
Maybe you don't get $40.
You have to ask for the $40 before.
My name is Leo. I run Dorkening Podcast Network. You can find me every Monday with Patsy here and Philip from Dark Discussions doing our indie creator spotlight. And we do a slew of other shows on the weekend throughout the week. Tuesdays we're doing a comic book show now, and Wednesdays doing a show with the Token Dead guys, and then another Dorkening show on Wednesday. So I get absolutely no sleep whatsoever.
Well, that's probably good because you don't need it. Oh, Brandon's blocking every probably something sexy going on.
Yeah, no, nothing's going on over here. Fine. Everything's good.
Hey, we don't approve of that type of behavior on this show. Sweet liquor eases the pain. So today, because no one has said what the topic is yet.
Well, because that's your job.
It's because it is my job as the host. We are going to be discussing our wild speculation for the upcoming long overdue Godzilla versus Kong. Mm-hmm. And what I love about this type of show is that we have a lot of people on here who are very well versed in the kaiju lore, and we have people who are in the middle of the road, and we have people who are pretty much neophytes. And I love getting all the different points of view and different levels of fandom. So, God damn, I wish I knew what the hell that friggin' clicking sound was.
Well, try maybe your mixer's USB, right?
Yes.
Probably not the USB interface. Maybe unplug the actual XLR and plug it back in.
The XLR? Oh, my microphone?
Yeah, maybe. But it sounds technical.
Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again?
Plan B is, do you have a hammer?
I don't want to hammer it. You know what? Plan B is I'm just not going to...
Is it? No, it's
still going, it sounds.
Not as severe, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
it's so weird. It sounds like a keyboard or something.
Yeah, it does.
Do you want to hop back out and hop back in? See if it goes.
Let me do this. So you guys talk amongst yourself. The topic
talk
is
amongst yourselves.
Holy Roman Empire would be the Holy Roman Northern Empire. Discuss amongst yourselves.
Man. So yeah, I'm one of the neophytes that he was talking about. This is not my wheelhouse at all. So
It's been
yeah,
so
no,
long since I've seen anything Godzilla-y-ish.
well, I mean, it's good to know I'm not the only one that's not like incredibly well versed.
Yeah, I'm not super versed myself. I mean, I love Godzilla, and I've seen a lot of the classics, and obviously love the new ones. But I don't know, like, I get mixed up with names every now and then. So
That's fair. I completely understand that. I mean, I did watch. I watched 4 movies this week in order to prepare for this, and 2 of them I really enjoyed, and 2 of them I really watched.
nice. Patsy, the noise was still going when you were away.
So I don't think it's me.
Okay, do you want to like mute each person like individually to see if it goes away?
Yeah, I'll start with Mr. Brandon. This is making for compelling radio.
Well, we can always.
You can always edit this.
Yes.
We can't edit. Well, maybe edit the video. Yeah. Let's see. Let's mute.
Or maybe we just upload the video.
There. Here we go. No, still getting it. I don't think it's Leo, but I'm to be fair. It's not Leo. Let's go to Colleen. Nope. How about Jess? Okay, it's Jess. You want to hop out and hop back in because I think it's you.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, okay. I'll be right back.
Thank you. All right. Well, I knew we'd get to the bottom of it. All right. So that was some compelling radio. Yes, we're going to be talking about Godzilla versus Kong today. Hopefully,
it's Godzilla chewing the power lines.
Yeah, it's interference from G lasers and Kamazat.
I thought you were going to go a different route. Like, the line's not haunted. It was old lady Snyder who runs the old amusement park.
Actually, Jess does work for a haunt, which is actually haunted in.
Look at me, finger on the pulse. I'm amazing, guys.
That's so much better, Jess.
Oh, thanks.
All right, so let's go around the room and figuratively, and let's find out where people are as far as their fandom. And since the way I'm looking at the screen, it goes me, then Brandon, then Leo, then underneath that is Colleen, then Chris, then Jess. So we're gonna go in that order, and then we can always swing back different ways later on. But so we'll start with Brandon. Brandon, when I asked you about this the other day, other than why. And
I mean, it is very much what happened. Like, I get we're friends, but seriously, why?
And you asked about different movies to watch and stuff that I recommended. What was your level of knowledge when it came to Godzilla and Kong?
I mean, I had seen as a kid, like a very little kid, the original King Kong and the remake with
Jack.
What? No. As a kid. Jessica Lange. Is that who's in it?
Yep. 1976 when he climbs the Twin Towers.
Yeah. And I had seen I saw the original Godzilla and a couple of other ones. Because my dad was into all those. I mean, my dad was born in 1945, and he was like an OG geek. So he just loved all that stuff. He passed a lot of that geekiness on to me, but the kaiju large Japanese monster thing is not anything that ever really appealed to me, which you would think, honestly, with all the other stuff that I'm really into. However, my youngest brother, he's 14 years younger than me, he is super into Godzilla, and he has like numerous DVDs and stuff. And because of that, I still didn't reach out to him at all to ask him anything about Godzilla.
That's a solid plan. So let's move on. Leo, what about you? You're literally decades older than most of us, but you hide it well.
Nicely put.
Leo has a photograph somewhere that's aging.
Yes, there's a picture in his. That's why he has to fight the snakes. I know I made that joke about Leo was dual wielding axes to kill snakes. That's based on a true story.
That's true. Yeah. I for a little while, I and most of you probably heard the story, but I moved back into my parents' old farmhouse when I came back from Florida, and I found out that it was infested with snakes.
Yes.
I was killing about a dozen snakes a summer, and so
we just like why did it have to be snakes?
Oh yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, my wife she was coming over one time, and I was actually doing a live broadcast, and I had to stop it and go because she was crying outside because she drove up and there's a snake crawling up the side of the house, and she didn't want to come in.
That's my reaction. Yeah. No,
I can't even hear it. No, irrational fear of snakes.
Moving.
But the dual axes, it was I used an axe to kill the snakes, but I would use one to pull the snake down if it was crawling up the wall, and then the other one to dispatch of it. So,
I didn't even.
Hold on, wait. I need to know. Were you using the sharp part of the axe or just bludgeoning them with it?
Column B.
Okay, so it was initially the sharp part, but because I'm killing them on cement, because this is in the back room where the washer and dryer was, the axes would become dull, so eventually it would be bludgeoning.
If you've ever seen the final fight between Sylvester Stallone and Jason Momoa in Bullet in the Head, it was kind of like that.
I just want to share the way I found out that we had an infestation is I heard a huge crash in the back room, and I thought, okay, something fell. So I go into the back room. There's these two. Now, these were not small snakes. These were older snakes, on average about 6 feet long. There was two huge snakes.
I'm terrified of snakes. Like, this story is legitimately terrifying.
Keep going. Keep going.
I go in the back room to see what the crash was. There was two large snakes mating. They were all intertwined, thrashing about.
Al Green was playing.
Oh yeah.
Room for one more.
Oh.
So it was a scary time.
So that was
put on a romantic CD.
What did they do in The Simpsons? They played Barry White, right? Back in the day.
I love
it definitely sounds sexy.
Well, that was Leo's introduction.
Yeah.
Leo, your introduction to Kaiju, aside from battling hordes of snakes, what was that?
So Godzilla's the turtle, right?
Yeah. No, that's camera.
Okay. No, I loved Godzilla when you said I was old. I was excited to watch the original Godzilla because I knew Perry Mason was in it. And so I loved the original Godzilla, and I watched some of them. I kind of fell out before the 80s versions. But absolutely loved the reboot. Well, what was that?
You were just too old at that point.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean the whole the whole 80s era I kind of skipped.
When he kind of looked goofy and like cute.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I loved the what was it? What was the Ferris Bueller one?
Ferris Bueller. Oh, the 1998 Godzilla?
Yeah. Oh, I'm like, that just confused me so badly.
Especially, I
got Godzilla jumping over fences to get home before his parents. Jesus Christ. I can't remember third grade now.
And I brought this up to Leo last week, and I wasn't going to say anything. I mean, I was, but since you brought it up, Leo, you definitely, with that mustache, look like Jeffrey Jones as Ed Rooney from. Brandon's like, "Yep."
Yeah. This stuff is starting to grow back, so it's it was definitely a mistake to shave, but it's yeah. Thank you for that. But yeah, the 98 Godzilla I enjoyed, and I don't know why, but it was but I'm loving the reboots though. The whole new versions.
See, I'm with you on the 98 I liked mainly because I was 17 when that came out. And as an avid Simpsons fan, I loved hearing Kent Brockman and Hank Azaria using Moe's voice when he almost gets stepped on. Yeah, that was good for me. Colleen, how about you?
So I love Godzilla and I love all monster movies, like Kaiju, anything. Like we're gonna go for some like Ultraman and all that fun stuff is like my jam. So for me, I love it when it's super, super goofy. Like when I was watching the Mechagodzilla 2 today with my kids, and when he just like starts stomping on Rodan, like that's just fun. It's awesome. And like my daughter and I are like making memes for ridiculous things, like when we watch Shin Godzilla and he comes out in like that tadpole form. It was amazing, and she like made this whole little thing that was like, asking your mom for Godzilla, mom saying we have Godzilla at home, Shin Godzilla. Like, so yeah, I love that, but I agree with Leo that I think that they're doing an amazing job with all of the reboots, specifically with the lore. So I'll get into that later in detail, but it's beautiful and wonderful, and they're really making what used to be, I think, a really goofy franchise into something that's more solidified and cemented. So I like that.
All right, Chris, you're up, and I know you are like the kaiju guy. So, what's your background with the big old rubbery monsters?
Well, I watched those rubbery monsters tear cities down literally all my life. I grew up in the days where they were the Saturday matinee, the creature feature, action cinema, whatever it was called. But I would watch Godzilla, Gamera, the original King Kong, everything from as long as I could remember, and I never stopped being a fan. And those were during the days where it wasn't cool to be a geek. Remember those days when you were ridiculed rather than everyone proudly proclaiming themselves a geek? And
yes.
Yeah. And despite being ridiculed in middle school and high school because I still watch those movies, you're back when they used to think growing up is giving up the things you love, and I never understood that, but luckily I never went along with it, and I kept watching the Godzilla movies and the other kaiju films continuously. I never stopped. And the only reason I stopped later in the 80s is because I remember how it took forever for the Heisei movies following Godzilla 1985 to get here. So other than that, I never willingly stopped watching them. And as for the legendary movies, I like them. I like what they're doing. Maybe I'm not the biggest fan because I thought maybe there just wasn't enough kaiju versus kaiju action or enough of the kaijus, but I really loved Kong Skull Island. That was the standout movie for me. I think it was the only really good Kong movie we got since King Kong versus Godzilla. And we've been waiting close to 60 years for this rematch. What took them so long?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's one that I've always loved, King Kong versus Godzilla, and we did our Kong show, unintended Kong sequences, a couple years ago, and that was one that we watched because you had never seen it, and I thought it was.
Well, I've seen the original. I hadn't seen the 76 remake.
No, I'm talking about King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh yeah, King Kong. No, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah. So, Jess, you're the last one before Ashes. What's your experience with these guys?
I was introduced to them very briefly, young. But I was introduced to a lot of the old classics, the black and whites, and yeah. So that was my kind of just level.
And what's your current like fan level, like your interest level on these?
I remember seeing the slightly older Godzilla movie, like the last remake that they did.
Mm-hmm.
But then they like switched the genders.
Oh, so you're talking about the same one that Leo is, where he was it laid a bunch of eggs.
Yeah.
It
is, Godzilla's supposed to be a boy, but then all of a sudden, like, we have a nest. That's terrifying.
Well, it's not the first time that they've had an egg with a baby Godzilla in it, and we'll get into that one because I know Colleen watched that one today.
So did I. Wait, hold on. Which one is that? That's
Godzilla 2.
Yeah, Mechagodzilla 2.
Yeah, I watched that as well. Yeah.
So Ashes, how about you? What was your introduction to kaiju, and what's your level of interest for this film?
Well, they do call me the Queen of the Monsters for a reason. My love for monster and monster things, kaiju, universal monsters, this guy. I'm pretty well versed, not so much in the comic realm, but definitely in the yeah, little dude. But definitely in the cinematic universe. And I have this love for old black and white films. And that's kind of where my introduction to kaiju began. Godzilla 54, and King Kong. Whatever happened to Fay Ray?
She died.
She died. And it just kind of grew from there. And then there came this little show. I don't know if you guys have heard of this show called Mystery Science Theater 3000.
No, tell me more.
Well, I know, right? It's riveting. It's exciting.
It's got robots.
But they did a lot with the Gamera kaiju, and Gamera is my favorite, aside from Mothra. So that's kind of, going from these black and white films to watching these Gamera films and watching, Mystery Science Theater 3000 kind of lovingly tear apart the, awesomely badness or badly awesomeness. I don't even know how the right way to say it, but
the repulsive glamour.
Like these some of these films are just fun, and there's really nothing other than there's really nothing else you can say about some of these films other than they're fun. They're so much fun. The practical effects, the creature design, the way that they, achieved certain effects.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it was a guy in a suit, sometimes it was a puppet, so I love it all. And, a few years ago when the Legendary decided that they were going to reboot the Godzilla franchise, I know you were really excited.
Oh yeah.
And I was a little, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how I feel about this. And the first one was, it was pretty good. There were a couple of exciting parts.
You stood up and cheered when he used his atomic breath to kill the Muto the first time.
I love it
in the theater.
When Godzilla, when he just starts to light up, and he lights, the tip of his tail slowly starts to turn blue, and it just slowly creeps up his back, and then all of a sudden he just takes this big breath, this inhale in, and just whoa! It's just so exciting, and this just blue light, just this fiery blueness, just comes. I wish I had that capability.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
I wish my tail lit up and I could go whoa.
Your tail does not light up.
My tail does not light up. But it's exciting, and the ending of that first one made me really excited for the second one, which I thought was pretty phenomenal. The introduction of all of these different kaiju.
You love you some Mothra.
I love Mothra so much. So I'm really excited to see exactly what happens. And I thought that the Kong Skull Island was fantastic as well. I thought that was so well done. The design of Kong and the sympathetic creature that he was. I thought they did a really good job of showcasing that. So I'm really eager to see exactly how everything's going to play out. And I have some theories that kind of mirror your theories. Yes, so we're going to talk about that shortly. But what about you, Patsy?
Oh, I've been a Godzilla fan ever since I was a kid. The first one, we talked about this a little bit in the group, but the first one, or the group chat, I should say, the first one I remember seeing is Godzilla 1985. It was one of those staples that
Didn't you cry at the end?
I did. I cried at the because Godzilla falls into a goddamn volcano. Like, that was sad. Like, that was up there trauma-wise, because it was another one of those movies that we rented all the time, along with
The Making of Thriller.
The Making of Thriller and Monster Squad. Like, that, to me, watching Frankenstein's monster get sucked up into the vortex into limbo and Godzilla falling into the goddamn volcano, both of those to me were equally traumatic. It was many years later when I finally saw the first Godzilla, and Leo kind of touched on it a little bit, but Leo saw the Americanized version that came out in 1956 with Raymond Burr. But the original Godzilla came out in 1954, and that one ended with Godzilla dying. Spoiler alert, for a 70-plus-year-old movie. But he ended up dying, and Dr. Serizawa was the one who killed him. Dr. Serizawa was then brought back for the legendary version in 2014, played by Ken Watanabe, and his kid's in the new one, which, not Ken Watanabe's kid, but Serizawa's kid. And I didn't remember that Godzilla died at the beginning of the first one, but it was so successful. Like, it won a ton of Oscars, or the Japanese version of the Academy Awards. I think it lost out to Best Picture. The only reason it didn't win Best Picture is because Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai came out that year, which that's a fucking amazing film. But it's weird to think of a Godzilla movie being nominated for a bunch of like Academy Awards, like prestige and acting. I mean, special effects, obviously, especially 1954. But it's funny you brought up, how they did certain scenes with special effects. I remember watching one of these, on like what Chris was saying, like the creature double features on a Saturday night, and it was the one where I think it was Godzilla versus Megalon. And Megalon is being held by Jet Jaguar, which is just a ripoff of Ultraman. And he slides across on his tail and like delivers a drop kick. But like he slides for like a really long way. And my mom's like, oh, that's just a pregnant lady in a suit. I'm like, that's not a pregnant woman. A pregnant lady can't do that. A pregnant lady on wires can. And watching the first Mechagodzilla movie today from 1974, like when he's just wrecking Anguirus, just wrecking him, you definitely see the wires when he's getting lifted up. Like they weren't even trying to hide it. And even the Godzilla versus Kong, like the wires on the remote control tanks are very apparent.
I love those movies.
Yeah, like I think that really
the practical effects, and you could see the wires and the bad production value, but it makes it great.
Yeah, like people like, oh, it looks so fake. Oh, you can see the zipper on the monster. It's like, but the time and effort it took to build all these miniature sets, like just think about that. Like how realistic do all these cities look? Like they have, office buildings where some of the lights light up and some of the other lights aren't lit up. And, it's amazing. It's like, oh, Jerry from accounting's working late tonight. Oh, and he just got crushed by Megalon. Oh, poor guy.
Along with the entire building.
Right. As opposed to just every light is on. Like the attention to detail that you get to see is so awesome. So we have, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 questions that I'm going to sprinkle in. Nobody knows what these are, not even Ashes, because she hasn't seen them yet. But we're going to start with our first question before we get into everybody's predictions and whatnot. So the first question I have, because we've mentioned it a couple of times, is Mechagodzilla masquerading as the original Goji. And we saw this in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. People wonder, like, what the hell? Like, why is Godzilla doing this? And we saw him, we talked about how in that era, in the 70s era, where he was kind of cute and like less threatening, but like he fucking wrecked Anguirus, like ripped his jaw halfway off and like left him for dead. So I'm going to start with Jess, because I don't know if you've seen this movie, but we'll start with you. Is Mechagodzilla pretending to be Godzilla? Is that why he's acting so strange?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
Really don't.
All right. You think it's just Godzilla being angry at? Because there is a theory that I will throw out after everybody gets their opinion in. There's a theory that I heard that I find quite interesting. Chris, to you.
Well, I will pretty much agree with Jess. I don't think that they're going to turn out having Mechagodzilla posing as Godzilla. I think that it's going to turn out to be, I'm getting the impression that new organization, Apex, is going to be responsible basically for Godzilla's aberrant behavior and sort of pitting Godzilla and Kong against each other. And by the way, Pat, I saw Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, the original, in the theaters, and damn did that scene of Anguirus getting his jaw ripped apart startle me.
Yeah, like that was not something you would expect. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like in the I think it was Gamera versus Gyron with the knife head guy, slicing them all up, like cutting his arm off and shit. Like you very rarely do you see a lot of kaiju blood, although you saw it again in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla when he just had that all-out onslaught on him and Caesar. Just, Godzilla covered in blood because he had been hit by 6,000 friggin' missiles. Colleen, to you.
I think that it actually is. I think there were way too many Easter eggs thrown into the trailer, and I think that it's going to end up being like, Godzilla and Kong versus Mechagodzilla type of thing. Whether or not they have him in some type of dormant state, and that's why they're trying to use, Mechagodzilla everywhere else to create some type of calculated carnage on behalf of this company or whatever it is. That's what I think is going to happen, and I really do think that it is Mechagodzilla, because it's just there are too many Easter eggs in that trailer, and I don't think that it would be regular Godzilla doing that.
Leo, to you.
I got a bunch of theories, but for this one, yes, I'm going to say it is Mechagodzilla masquerading as Godzilla. Did everybody see the toy leaks?
I don't know if everyone has seen them, but we can get into it.
Okay, because that opens up some additional questions.
We will definitely touch on the toy leaks.
Okay.
Brandon, what do you think? Is Mechagodzilla masquerading as Meat Godzilla?
I want to say yes, but I also think that the answer is a bit more complicated than just that. I think it has something to do with whatever that crazy ass organization that Brother Numsi is the head of.
Apex.
Thank you. And the head of Ghidorah that was purchased in Isla de whatever that place was in Godzilla King of the Monsters.
In the deleted scene by Alan Jonah. Yeah, that's
deleted scene. I don't know about that, but
post credits, not deleted. Post credits.
Oh, yeah,
not deleted. It wasn't deleted. So, Ashes. How about you? What do you think? Is Mecha G masquerading as regular G?
Yes. Absolutely. I 100%. It doesn't quite fit with the personality of Godzilla that we've been shown this time around, I should say. To just kind of go off and destroy things just for the sake of destroying things. They kind of, bathed him in the light of being a hero. So I don't think that, what it makes more sense for it to be Mechagodzilla being controlled by this organization, masquerading as normal Godzilla, which is thus, giving normal Godzilla a bad reputation, and someone's going to
he
spill
don't give a damn about his
that.
bad reputation.
Yeah. I think that the Godzilla, which is Mechagodzilla, and King Kong fight. I think a lot's going to happen. Let me just put it that way. I think a lot is going to happen, and I have a lot of theories.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get into this. So, my thoughts on this. I say yes. I think he is, with a caveat that explains Godzilla's behavior. So, if you watched the breakdown that I did, the live breakdown, and I know Colleen, you were in there watching that, and Leo, you caught some of it as well. We get to see Godzilla moving in a way that we don't normally see, and we also get to see him knocked off of that aircraft carrier by Kong. Now, I don't know of any type of aircraft carrier or boat of any type that could support the weight of regular Godzilla. He's just too big, too dense, too massive. However, if this was, say, a facsimile using the bones of Dagon, what we saw in the original Godzilla, the 2014 version, when we saw the skeleton, that was actually Dagon. That's what they called him. That was Godzilla's ancestor that was killed in one of the Godzilla, I think it was Aftershock comics. We got to see that happen where he fought the Muto Prime, which our Godzilla eventually killed. If he was a lot lighter and not as dense, I can see that happening. I could also, and I heard this theory on the new Rockstars. His theory is that Alan Jonah, Charles Dance's character from the 2014 version, has, obviously he purchased the head of Ghidorah, the first head that got ripped off, and it has, like, pieces of it were put all over the world. And we saw in the trailer breakdown that Godzilla has been attacking apex sites. Now, he's only going to be attacking them, I think, because they are they're using him as a scapegoat. He's not attacking them to attack them because, he's going nuts. He's attacking them because he's getting apex signals from electrical stimulation of Ghidorah's brain, or like he senses that Ghidorah is there. And I think they're using Ghidorah and his regenerative ability to kind of make this mecha Godzilla skin, and in the trailer you get to see the Mecha Godzilla like blueprint readout dealy. And I think that and the young man that you see is Serizawa's son. And I think if Jonah Taylor got to him and like, yeah, Godzilla's the reason that your dad is dead, maybe that makes him side similar to Vera Farmiga's character in King of the Monsters. She has this motivation to side with Alan Jonah. That's me. Colleen. I know, Colleen, you look very excited.
Well, I was going to say, I really thought, like, one of my kind of predictions in there, instead of it just necessarily being part of the bones or whatever, what if they actually cloned, like, an egg and made their own little Godzilla and, like, was able to, like, kind of take over its little head or hijack it or whatever, and then kind of, like, raise it as their own. Because I think that Serizawa had such, like, a love for Godzilla. I can't see his son jumping off of anything with apex to harm any of these titans. I think he would have inherited his father's reverence for them. But in that same vein, since he did end up kind of like perishing, and it was technically sort of kind of because of Godzilla, that maybe if they gave him the idea of, well, we have this one that we can control and use for the greater good of humanity and make sure that he definitely, does his job in taking care of the other Titans while maintaining, a minimal kill rate of humans. If we can take control of him, that would be a thing. So whether or not it's like a full-on Mechagodzilla, or if it's like, them hijacking the brain of like a baby Godzilla, and that's why he's kind of smaller in stature than actual.
Minya.
They're lonesome. He's got no friends.
But yeah, so that's my 2 cents on top of that little idea that you threw out there.
Has everyone seen the trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, no. Is it because you don't want to see the trailer, or you just haven't gotten around to it? I don't have any sound from you.
I have not seen the trailer,
and
it's just because I haven't gotten to it yet.
All right, so I'm gonna throw the trailer up real quick, so people can take a look at this. There may be ads because I let my my Amazon, not my
premium accounts,
YouTube Prime. Nope, no ads. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen with you guys, so everybody can see this. Share screen. Yep. We want Chrome tab. Sorry, I'm not doing this as fluidly as Leo does, but here we go. So
that's tiny.
This is our only chance. We have to take it. We need Kong. The world needs him to stop what's coming. And this child, she's the only one he'll communicate with.
I knew that they had a bond. She had nowhere to go, so I made a promise to protect her. And I think that in some way, Kong did the same. It's Godzilla.
These are dangerous times. Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people and we don't know why.
There's something provoking him that we're not seeing here.
I'm of the same opinion.
The myths are real. There was a war. And they're the last ones standing.
I keep reaching for greatness because I'm built from it. Who bows to who? Nobody can stop me. Here we go.
Kong bows to no one.
Here we go.
All right, so let's exit full screen here and close that up. So, Brandon, first thoughts seeing the trailer for the first time.
It certainly looks cool for sure. I had no idea that Alexander Skarsgård was in the movie. I only just watched these movies recently, so I'm not heavily invested. I think maybe for sure it's something masquerading as Godzilla, or something is controlling what he's doing. I mean, there's one way or the other, because like you said, he's been painted with a hero's brush at this point. I thought it was really cool over these new movies that I saw how they did that. It was done very well. So I just my whole thing is I kind of want to see the two of them kick the crap out of each other and probably just watch Godzilla win.
Now, Jess, had you seen the trailer before this?
Yes.
Okay. What were your initial reactions when you first saw the trailer? Were you like, okay, this is something I got to watch? Or were you like, oh, that's nice?
No, I definitely want to watch it because I want to get more into the actual storyline itself, because I wasn't one who did the comics or anything as far as Godzilla goes. But, it is a part of my childhood, and, it has this giant legacy that, I just...
Pun intended.
It kind of... and yeah, pun intended.
Chris, how about you? First time you saw the trailer, being a big kaiju guy.
Well, once again, the first thing I said was, it's about time. Then... Was it worth the wait? Well, I wish I wouldn't have had to wait, but it looked pretty excellent. I mean, even though I'm ambiguous about a few things about the two previous Godzilla films, I really have optimistic expectations about this one. They really seem like they're going all out, the creative crew for this one, and we're going to see something really epic. I mean, I expect Godzilla to win, but I like both kaiju. I just don't know why I'm so strongly team Godzilla. But I like both. I like both the kaiju, and I'm looking forward to this movie. I may very well watch it on HBO Max. I'd love to see it in the theater. Don't get me wrong. I love the theater experience, but I don't know if I feel like wearing a mask for 3 hours. So.
Yeah, we're going to be hooking up our. I have a surround sound system, and we're going to be watching it in the living room, probably with some awesome snacks.
I feel like sushi is really
is a good call.
Yeah,
it does come out like just a few days before my 40th birthday, so I'm pumped for that. Colleen, your thoughts on watching the trailer the first time?
I'm so pumped for this, and I have been dying for it. I am all about it. I just want to see them smash each other to bits, and it looks beautiful. They have really built up like this melding of this big Monarch-controlled world with the Godzilla films and the King Kong Skull Island ones, and with the comics and everything included. It's teasing so much in the trailer that I think a lot of people are missing. Like, in the beginning when they're like, oh, this is our one chance. We need Kong for what's coming. And what's coming, I don't think is Godzilla. So I think that that's going to be really cool. I don't know if you have any more questions. It's going to delve into that, so I'm not going to go there yet.
Well, we're definitely going to be delving more into this.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'm so excited. I can't wait. HBO Max is up immediately as soon as I can with all my kids, and it's just going to be so fun.
Leo, your first thoughts watching the trailer?
So first time I watched it, I didn't dig nearly as deep as you did. Oh my god, I was just awestruck and just so happy to see the trailer. And but now that it's been out for a while and rewatching it a whole mess of times, I have nothing but questions. I'm gonna say this here: I don't think we're gonna have the real Godzilla for most of the movie. I think it's gonna be Mechagodzilla, but I don't think we're gonna see like Godzilla's down for the count somewhere. And
see, I have a theory regarding that. So I love what Leo's saying right now because it kind of leads into exactly what I think.
Yeah,
I concur.
And that whole King Kong putting his hand up, I think he finds a way into Middle Earth, and there's going to be
Hollow Earth, Middle Earth. Every movie they're talking about it, so there's no way they're not bringing it up.
The scene with Kong swinging those two flying things together. If you look, there's like mountains hovering backwards or upside down in the background, and the ground is all purple, like, and there's a little like there's a ship flying it, like that's Hollow Earth, like that's where they are.
I think he's gonna bring more kaiju to the fight to help out.
Rewatching the trailer, and I mentioned this when I did my breakdown. And you guys just saw it when he takes the axe and blocks the atomic breath. I almost said athletic breath. That would have been way wrong. And smashes Godzilla in the face. I think that is the moment that we find out that he is Mechagodzilla, because why would you show that scene otherwise? You can't show unless they're just ruining the film and like that's where he kills Godzilla. But
well, it is 2021, man. And it can go either way.
I'm honestly hoping that doesn't happen with the Mechagodzilla thing. I mean, you guys may be right, but if it did happen, rather than thinking it was cool, I would think it would sort of be a cheat. Just me. That's just me.
Yeah. That was my first instinct when, the whole Mechagodzilla thing got rolled around, and I rewatched it like maybe 2-3 times trying to catch all the things to be like, really? Is it Mimi? Because they've built up Godzilla to be so awesome on his own, to have, a Godzilla and Kong thing. I want to see a Godzilla and Kong showdown where it's really Godzilla and it's really Kong like at his peak. So, if there was like a showdown between Mechagodzilla and Kong, it would almost be like you said, like it's cheapens it just a tiny bit.
Ashes, what about you? Seeing the trailer the first time,
so
what were your thoughts?
I had two initial thoughts. How the hell did Kong get Mjolnir? And where the fuck is Mothra?
He was worthy.
Well,
damn it!
In that, because we're going to be talking about that momentarily.
Oh, good.
Aside from, getting really excited, seeing the blue breath and everything, like it looks really good. Like, I'm not going to lie. I don't really care. Like, okay, no, that's a lie. I do care what happens. I care deeply about what happens. But at the same time, like, I know I'm going to be entertained regardless of the outcome of this film based on the trailer alone. These, 2 minutes of clips. I know I'm going to be solidly entertained for at least 2 hours.
Monster smash.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't care if it ends up being a big dumb monster film where these two monsters are just fighting for an hour and a half, like with CGI and everything that we can do with practical effects and everything that we've seen up to this point, as far as this legendary universe goes. Like, I am down for anything at this point.
Leo, you look like you were about to say something because you had your hand raised.
I was just going to say, do you mean Stormbreaker, not Mjolnir?
Oh,
maybe that's yes.
You know how he got it? The one time, Nick Fury, Loki, and Captain Marvel, they went with King Ralph to the island where Kong lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure Loki just did something to trick his brother and leave that stupid hammer there. Nailed it.
Actually, I think the handle, the tree, I think they're going to use that as like a throwback to Godzilla stuff in a tree, or King Kong stuff in the tree down Godzilla's throat. Yeah, I think they're going to use that as a throwback. That's how he gets.
Well, then let's jump into this question that we have that you guys didn't know about. Where do you think Kong gets his axe? So, Ashes, we'll start with you.
So, upon further, review of the trailer, I think it's a plate. I think it's one of Godzilla's
It's definitely
scales,
a dorsal plate.
Yeah, that they wielded into this axe, because really, what else could repel Godzilla's fiery breath, atomic breath,
vibranium,
than a piece of Godzilla himself? So that's what I think it is.
So you think it's a dorsal spine? Okay,
yes.
I agree. I 100% think it's a dorsal spine, but I have a theory of where it came from. But I'm gonna start. Let's start random. Let's start with Colleen because she's nodding her head. She's got something.
So I think it either comes from one of two places. Either whoever's rescuing him or bringing him out to, whether he's facing Godzilla or they're just trying to transport him somewhere. Either they provided him with it because they realize that's going to be one of the only things that's going to be effective against either his breath or actually causing him damage, or he actually gets it from an ancestral place, because Kong does have like this whole backstory that's like in the comics and everything like that, where he does have a home. There's a whole bunch of stuff to do with a tunnel that does kind of go underground. Whether or not that goes directly into Hollow Earth is a thing. So whether it is like a weapon that his ancestors possibly had against other types of kaiju like Godzilla, that's a thing. But yeah, so either it's given to him or he finds it, because I don't think Monkey's smart enough to use a tool, but I don't think that he's, got that kind of foresight to, ooh, this is going to work against Godzilla. Let me just make this over here while he's distracted, running after some tourists. But yeah, so that's my theory.
So I'm going to kind of build on, because you touched on half of my theory. I think that when we see him putting his big old monkey's paw up on the little red thing, that this is because we saw at the end of Kong Skull Island that these two have fought before. I think this is a plate from Dagon, the skeletal version that we saw in 2014. I think this is one of his plates. And I think this is a tool that has been passed on for years and years and years through the different Kong generations, only to like break glass in case of emergency, only to be used against him. That's what I think it is. I may be wrong, but that's my theory. So, Jess, what do you think?
That actually is a really good point, and I agree. I absolutely agree that it's an ancestral anatomical piece, that it's basically a plate from a prior skeleton.
Yeah, I see. The reason I think this,
100% agree to that.
Yeah, because I think that Dagon's been dead for thousands, if not millions of years in order for him to become completely skeletonized, but preserved very well. No, it's thousands, because there was pictures of this, I think in like feudal Japan, or very early Mesopotamia, where these drawings came from. I don't remember exactly from the.
It was Phoenician lore, yeah.
Phoenician lore, okay. So yeah, that general area. So it's been several thousand years, and I think that that kind of plays into it. How he knew that this would work, and I think that the whole break glass in case of emergency thing like that, I'm just kind of throwing out there as an explanation for, well, why didn't he use it against the skull crawlers when he was a teenager? Chris, what about you? What do you think?
Well, you pretty much said it, Patsy, as far as I'm concerned. I was also thinking it came from that skeletal remains of Dagon, or maybe he did pick it up somewhere in the Hollow Earth. I almost said Middle Earth, but the Hollow Earth, because yeah, it's I have a bad habit of saying that. But anyway, sorry. But anyway. That's what I'm also thinking. The skeletal remains are somewhere in the Hollow Earth, and it's cool to see that Kong is an extra grind with Godzilla in a literal sense, also.
Very nice. See, I think that skeleton's been taken over by Monarch once they found it in 2014 in the dig site there in the Philippines. I think they took that. Somebody was about to say something. Who was it?
I don't know who it was, but I'll say something.
No, I laughed at his little thing that he said.
Oh, okay.
When he said X to grind.
Oh, my bad pun.
Well, we know why you're laughing at that.
Did you guys notice in the trailer that the axe was glowing blue before the atomic breath hit it?
It could have been like a reflection from the glow as well. I mean, that's pretty.
I mean, that's how it looked to me. It almost implies that maybe the because I do think it's a scale like from the dorsal. But I think that it is from Dagon. I do think that. But it just seemed to me that it was glowing before anything hit it, which almost makes it seem as if because it was an older like ancestral Titan, maybe it has like still some kind of latent ability or power that they're not necessarily aware of until he starts utilizing it.
Unless it already like they shot it out of order and it had already absorbed some energy, which is entirely possible.
Yeah. True.
He leaves a big radiation signature everywhere he goes, Godzilla.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it would make sense for it to absorb that, and maybe he can actually use it too. That would be cool.
Like maybe Godzilla already hit it with, his breath, and that's what we're seeing, and then he goes to swing it like from one scene right to the next.
Yeah, like it's entirely possible that they just, and it's also entirely possible that they're, just kind of screwing with us like Marvel did with, when they would show Thor and he had both of his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Or showing, the scene in Wakanda where the Hulk was running behind everybody, like charging into battle. Like, that's the other thing you got to take with a grain of salt is how much of this is actually going to happen and how much of it is just to, throw people like us off. Like,
that'll teach those jerks talk about our movies.
Leo, what about you? Where do you think Kong gets his axe?
Okay, this is going to be going into a little spoiler, if you don't mind.
It's potential spoilers. We don't know 100% what's going to happen.
Yeah. It's okay. So I think it's from Godzilla. One of the toy leaks was a new kaiju called Mechagodzilla, but the way the toy looks, I think Godzilla gets wrecked, and his dorsal spine is actually taken off. And I think the toy is actually another version of Godzilla that has like some apparatus on him that Monarch put to help heal him. So yeah, so that's my theory based off of the little blurry image I saw.
Now, see, I had seen toy leaks prior. I had known about Kong's axe being a dorsal plate. I had known about Mechagodzilla being in the film, but this was all stuff that I kind of speculated on anyways. Like I knew Kong would need some sort of, weapon or something to help him, because I did not, as they showed in the trailer, I did not expect him to be roughly the same size as Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
The first time they showed that scene, like in the 2-second, like HBO Max promo that they did that had all the other movies in it, like Mortal Kombat. I almost said this. I said, when Kong goes and punches Godzilla and we see that like huge like haymaker that he throws, I'm like, they're going to zoom in on Godzilla and he's just going to kind of look right back at him like, that's the best you got? And then just like... So here's a question that is not in my list of questions, but do we think that this is going to be very similar to all the other versus films that we have seen over the last few years, where it's the two main characters battling each other for a while, and then they team up to fight the real bad guy?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm thinking so.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go, Brandon, since you were the first one to jump in. What's your theory?
I think it's something along the lines of Apex having utilized was Ghidorah's one of Ghidorah's heads there. They'll somehow manipulate it into being essentially the programmable motor for Mechagodzilla and use it for acts of terrorism to make everyone think that Godzilla himself is a threat. And then whatever they're doing to keep Godzilla down, yada yada, he and Kong team up to take out Mechagodzilla.
I think that's a pretty good idea. Leo, let's go to Leo. Leo, you're next.
Okay. Yeah, I think they're gonna team up definitely to fight Mechagodzilla, and I don't know. So the other toy leak, I think it's going to be either Godzilla like rips the skin off to reveal it, or when they're teaming up, the real Godzilla like does a radiation blast and like rips the skin off, where you can see Mecha.
Do you think that it will be as blatant as in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla from '74, where this Godzilla does not make the same sound, even remotely close, as original Godzilla?
I think it's going to be very, very close. I think, you know, Apex really, I mean, I don't think it's going to be like mechanized like, you know, the old one. So
But I mean, didn't they make a kind of big deal out of the fact that Vera Farmiga's character in King of the Monsters had figured out a way to simulate like the Alpha Call, which essentially had incorporated Godzilla? So I don't think that's necessarily going to be a clear indication that it's a you know, fake Godzilla, because they could emulate the sound so well.
Give it away too early.
Yeah, that just. But if that were a concern, if that did become like something that somebody said in the story, like how, you know, then I mean, we have the actual stuff that happened in a previous movie to back up why that would be feasible.
Like he goes to roar and he just phrases like, "Hey!"
just go full on Ross from Friends.
This sounds like ah. Colleen, question to you: do you think they're going to end up teaming up against the real evil?
I do. All right. So they have made such a big deal, every single Kong and Godzilla movie that they've done recently, where first they're not really believing that, oh my gosh, what was his name? Dr. Brooks. They didn't believe that, oh, there was a hollow earth or whatever. And then by Godzilla King of the Monsters, they're like, ha, it is real. And I think, you know, after King of the Monsters, what are they going to do? They discover the earth is hollow and there's all these different caverns. You think they're not going to, you know, go in there and mess around? I think they're going in there and messing around. And I think that the big thing that they need Kong for, that they made a big deal out of Kong being, you know, the savior of humanity from and a gatekeeper of, are those, what were they called? Skull crawlers or whatever? Yeah. I think that is going to be the real threat, either like them specifically or some other larger versions of them or whatever it is that they awoke within the hollow earth is just going to be coming out of all of the other dozens of points that they kept saying that they had found in King of the Monsters. So that, I think, is the looming threat. I think the Godzilla versus Kong is going to be, like you guys said, the Mechagodzilla thing. And I was all super excited because I hadn't looked at the toy things. When
I'll be right back.
Was talking about
the Chris signal just got shown off in the air, so he's got to go meet with the commissioner.
Did his best impression of the Roadrunner right there. Meep.
But yeah, no, I hadn't heard about the toy with the, what did you call it, the Mechagodzilla?
Yeah, there was 4 toys revealed, obviously. Kong, Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, and they're calling another kaiju Mechagodzilla.
Well, that makes sense because in the one that 3 of us rewatched today, the Mechagodzilla 2, it was when they combined the Garuda and the Mechagodzilla that they got the Mechagodzilla. So it was like his like super big form. So that would make sense if they're going for that. So that's cool. So that kind of rolls in with my theory there that, you know, the 2 of them are going to mash him to pieces and then work on the real threat. And whether that's going to happen this movie or they're setting it up for a new, like, Hollow Earth, super big, badass, you know, monster, you know, Royal Rumble, which would be super cool. And I hope that's what they're doing. That's my theory.
All right, so let's skip Chris for the time being. There he goes. And move on. Chris is gone. Oh. Apparently it was a very, very important emergency. But yeah, let's move over to Jess. Jess, what do you think? Do you think they're going to team up and fight the real bad guy?
I think that they are, but I think that the thing is like with the Hollow Earth, like she had said, they had gone and explored and found all of the entry and exit points and all that stuff. I think that whatever creatures were in there in the Hollow Earth became aware that they could leave, and it's basically like portal theory.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
Nice.
So I think that Mechagodzilla is like the appetizer, like the amuse-bouche for this film. I think that Godzilla and King Kong are going to team up to battle Mechaghidorah.
Ooh,
Mechaghidorah
is
because that's the consideration, the head that they found.
Yeah, because we've been speculating that they might use the head to make Mechagodzilla, but
why would they use the head to make Mechagodzilla? That doesn't make sense. Creating Mechaghidorah makes sense.
So
I mean, I get that, but the only reason why I say like they would use it to make Mechagodzilla because it's the closest thing they have to like a ridiculous bank of like, even though I mean they kind of established Ghidorah's like not really a Titan, like it's an alien that came from out, off world, but it's the closest thing they have to like a huge bank of Titan DNA. I feel like it would just be more easily manipulated to get it to do what they want in that frame. But if they do fight Mechagodzilla, that's fucking cool too, man.
Right? Oh my gosh.
So that brings up my next question.
Well, before you get into that, just real quick, and this is stupid, so I apologize. Do you think
no such thing on this show?
Do you think you're going to be fighting and so Godzilla's kicking or King Kong's kicking Godzilla's ass, and then one of them is going to grunt Mothra, and the other is going to say Mothra? Why'd you say?
Why did you say that name? You have to say Mothra.
It's not that kind of versus movie.
I like Jess's theory a lot, and that would make a lot of sense. It would be kind of like in the Dark Knight, the Nightfall storyline of comics. And I know, Brandon, you're very, very familiar with this, where Bane breaks out all the criminals of Gotham and forces Batman to spend like 2 weeks rounding up everyone.
Here you go, buddy.
To the point where he's utterly exhausted, and then he shows up and just fucking wrecks Batman, snaps his spine and throws him off a building.
It's marvelous.
That based on Jess's theory, that's something that could happen if all these kaiju are being released. And again, talking about toy leaks, there are a couple of battle damage Godzilla and Kong action figures.
Oh.
So, based on what we were just talking about, that kind of brings us to the next question. Who will be the bad guys? Monarch, Apex, or somebody else? Colleen.
I think that Apex is definitely going to be the bad guys. I think Monarch has already shown that they're kind of like, in it for, monsters bringing balance, or that seems to have been like their thing. But I also really believe that the big actual bad guy is going to be whatever is coming out of Hollow Earth or whatever they've awakened. That's my whole thing. So.
All right. Jess.
I believe it'll be Apex. Like she had said, they awaken these creatures, and these creatures have become self-aware that they are not just secluded to their own land, and they find the ways in and out, and then they realize that there's more to this world than our world, and everything just goes nuts. And then they go and realize that Apex is the bad guys, so that these monsters are now going to go after them, but they don't know who's who because they're animal creatures, so they end up just like destroying the world.
Yeah, they don't recognize like, oh, this guy is wearing a green suit and that guy is wearing a blue suit. So
you can see the zipper.
Everyone's a target.
It's true, and it makes sense too, because in the Godzilla King of the Monsters, they had shown like that he had specific patterns that he would go through his territory and in and out certain what they would call wormhole tunnels through the center of the earth. So if they have actual Godzilla suppressed, then he's not making his rounds and keeping anybody. What is that?
Something I'm preparing. Sorry.
Oh, but yeah, so if he's not making his territorial rounds and keeping like a lion, the hyenas at bay, from in Hollow Earth, they can come out, and I think that's why they're trying to get Kong to, suppress all the rest of the monsters that are leaking out, because Godzilla is not there to take care of it.
See, I think it's a rogue subgroup. So I think Monarch are the good guys at this point. Apex are obviously the bad guys, but you know how like when you have like those couple of bad guys who go rogue from the other bad guys, I think that's what we're going to see. I think it's going to be Tywin Lannister, forming his own like underground group of
you guys aren't extreme enough for me.
Kind of like I have bigger dreams than what you're willing to do, and I want to accomplish this. It's almost like I want to accomplish world domination via these kaiju.
Hold on to that for a minute, because that's another question that's coming up. So hold on to your Splinter Cell idea with Charles Dance.
Okay, I'm gonna
cool your jets, hotshot.
Settle down. Brandon, your thoughts on who will the bad guys be?
I think Apex is going to spend a good chunk of the movie, a good majority of it even, being the bad guys. And then for the rest of it, they're going to be the stupid guys who realize that they now need to begrudgingly work with Monarch to stop what's become the actual bad guy.
Yeah, that's a fairly good guess. Leonard.
Okay, so I love all your theories. Colleen, I think you're spot on.
Here's why you're wrong.
No. I'm going to throw this.
Here's 3 reasons why.
I'm going to throw this wild card out there. Definitely Apex is the bad guys, but what if they are being misled or controlled by the alien race that sent Ghidorah?
Yeah, I was going to ask if anybody thought aliens were going to show up.
Dun, dun, dun.
See, my thing was like sort of a bit reverse. Like it's their hubris thinking that they can control Ghidorah by putting it in. And I'm sorry, what's going on? Go ahead, Ashes. You look physically pained. I'm sorry.
Giorgio Tsoukalos, Ashes is like, I'm not saying it's aliens. But...
my hair is not crazy enough.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all she was saying.
That's all I was doing.
But I mean, I felt like it might be this. What I was saying, like the other way. It's Apex's hubris in thinking that they could control this thing and force it into something else. And while they use the Ghidorah brain to sort of power this Mechagodzilla, it actually like regenerated somewhat, regained some of its higher cognitive functions, and now they're like, oh fuck, what the hell are we gonna do? And they have to join forces with Monarch. So I mean, it's sort of the same thing, opposite ends of the spectrum.
Well, I totally get that, and my thought for the aliens is, what if I'm thinking past this movie, because they have to keep on upping the ante. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So
it's
I mean,
building to something.
Totally. So why not bring an alien race that has bigger monsters or bigger?
They were the Xylians or Zillions from Planet X.
Maybe that would be something that they'd set up more for the next movie than bringing into this one, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like end credit scene. So, with that being said, let's move on. Ashes, this question is to you first.
Mm-hmm.
Will Charles Dance make an appearance as Alan Jonah? And if so, what will his role be?
So Tywin Lannister is going to be in this film, and he's going to be leading a rogue team of Apex scientists, people, contributors, unhappy with the outcome so far of what Apex is doing, wanting to do more, wanting, world domination or something along those lines, is going to lead this team and go rogue. And I think that's where Mechagodzilla is coming from. I think it's coming so Mechagodzilla, in my theory, is not an Apex thing. It's this, rogue team of people led by Tywin Lannister.
Love it.
What if it's not Apex, but it's Apex?
I will sign off right now. Because I'm jealous I didn't think of it first.
No matter what, we're Apex.
What's the password? Ooh, ooh, ooh.
How do you spell that? So
that's bananas.
Kong defeats Godzilla by hurling feces at him. What a shit way that movie would end.
Literally.
All right, Brandon.
Monkey use tools, monkey throw poop.
Yes.
Will Alan Jonah make an appearance, and if so, what will his role be?
Probably, the fucking mustache twirling dude in Apex, like he was in the last movie. Either that, or he's gonna just be man trying not to fall asleep in audience, like he played at the premiere of King of the Monsters.
Jess, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't have a working theory for that one right yet.
Okay. Colleen?
As always, I have a theory.
And you're dancing about it.
I am. I get so excited. So his whole main thing that he was getting pissed off at everyone for in King of the Monsters was the whole reason he released all these monsters was to restore balance to the earth because humanity sucks and we're ruining everything. So let's kill a giant proportion, if not all of us, and then just, restore the balance of the planet so everything is as it should be. And he was so
Who
mad
hasn't
that
been there?
Right? So, but anyway, I think he's gonna try and go for it. Whether he's going to either try and take over Apex from the inside out, and he's the reason why Mechagodzilla is just reaching out and destroying all the Apex sites, like we kind of saw, like in the trailer. Is up for debate, but I really think that he's just still going to try and do the same thing. He wants to kill them all, reset the earth, like that's his whole goal in deal. So that's what I think he's going to be doing.
Leo.
Going with my theory before, I think he's going to have a similar role, except we're going to find out that he's an alien or working with the aliens.
Ooh.
I don't think he's an alien. I think he's just British. And he's very concerned about his legacy and his sons. But
one of them always comes up short.
He's not an alien, guys. He's just British.
I don't. We might
tomato.
We might find out that he's, he has some advanced knowledge from aliens. Maybe he's using the Titans to terraform the Earth for his alien overlords.
Who's to say that he wasn't able to, by having one of Ghidorah's heads, maybe he was able to intercept something.
Yeah,
that's a huge theory, and I actually really like that because it kind of plays into a large part that they haven't really delved in yet, but it looks like they are going to jump in on in this movie is certain humans having a telepathic ability with all of the monsters. That's been huge in Godzilla. Who was it? It was Miki Segusa. She was a telepath, and she actually, her actress currently holds like the record for like the most frequently reoccurring human character in any kaiju film. She was in 6 different ones. And she was played by Megumi Odaka, and she's awesome. So her whole thing was she was able to be a telepath with like Godzilla, Baby Godzilla, a bunch of other people. And now we have like this little girl that they're talking about, Gia, who's able to talk to King Kong, or, you know, they're able to communicate one way or another. And they're both orphans for their respective families. Like in one of the comics, like they... what was the one? It was the first one. The, Birth of Kong.
Birth of Kong, that one, yeah.
Birth of Kong, yeah. They really go into his backstory and how he's actually born. He was like he was born during combat while his 2 parents are torn apart by those little skull crawlers or whatever they are. Yeah, so that was sad. So that could be a thing. Maybe it's possible that he was able to hook into some sort of telepathic link with either Ghidorah or another alien or Titan that's been emerging from the Earth, you know, from them screwing around in all of the little hollow Earth holes. So who knows? That's very, very possible. And he would be a perfect person to hijack because he seems to be, no matter what, like a really connected villain in almost all the roles he plays. So I can't see him, you know, signing on for a 2-bit part and, you know, seemingly in kind of King of the Monsters and not like having a huge villain reveal in this movie. So I think that that's going to be awesome.
And I kind of want to touch base just briefly on the whole, you know, humans having these connections, you know, telepathic, empathic connections with, you know, these kaiju. It is far less creepy for King Kong to have a connection with this adorable little girl than it is for him to be grabbing at full-grown women. I'm just throwing it out there.
If you say so. No.
Yeah, no, I'm glad he's not thirsty. He's got that under control, and it's innocent, so I'm happy.
Right. It makes him more of a sympathetic character. You're more likely to want to root for him in that situation because you see this bond that he has with this little girl. And, you know, obviously they have this bond or we're assuming they have this bond, you know, because they can identify, they see each other in each other, you know, they see themselves in each other. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's far less creepy having, you know, this adorable little girl have a bond with King Kong than for him being like, oh, woman, you know, let me grab you, you know.
Logistics of that would just be.
How many yoga classes would you need to take?
Yeah, right.
Real quick, I just want to say I realize I've changed my mind. I think that Charles Dance is most certainly going to be involved, and he's actually going to be revealed as Brother Numsy from The Golden Child, and this is going to be a long-awaited follow-up.
Oh, very nice. But yeah, as far as the, you know, like Colleen was saying about, you know, psychic connections, the fairy twins from Infant Island with Mothra, Z talking about like her, she's like 3rd generation, like Mothra whisperer, like. So the next question I have.
Oh shit! I didn't even think of that.
How will Monarch capture Kong? And I think it might go.
Hey Kong, you want to go on a trip?
Well, no, I have to do. But
King Kong, you on a vacation?
Timeshare. I think it might go a little something like this.
Hey, I heard we're going to Ape Island.
Yeah, to capture a giant ape. I wish we were going to Candy Apple Island.
Candy Apple Island? What do they got there?
Apes, but they're not so big.
Oh, that makes me happy.
What? Oh, there's Chris. Hi, Chris.
Yay!
All right, he's back.
Hey.
Stop talking shit.
All right, so Chris, we'll go to you first then, since you just joined back in and have no idea what we're talking about. How will Monarch capture Kong? Because we do see him both in chains and with a collar around his neck, if you pay close enough attention.
Well, basically, from some of the so-called spoilers that I've seen on some of the YouTube channels that say they got inside info, so this is like a prediction done for me, not my own. Kong doesn't actually get captured so much as he goes peacefully because of that young girl that has that rapport with him, and he's actually chained on the boat to hold him on more than to keep, to hold him there captive. I don't know why he appears to be unconscious for part of the way, but that's the impression I'm getting. He more or less goes of his own volition.
Then what's with the collar? How'd they get the collar on him? That's my question.
Well, I don't want to speculate on that one.
It's an interesting theory. Jess.
I believe that it kind of like they the same theory that like Disney did with that Mighty Joe Young, where that girl who found Mighty Joe was the pawn, and I think that that's what they're going to do, is they're going to use that girl to convince Kong, and that it's going to be this whole big disaster, and and then we're going to end up being free.
Interesting. Colleen.
Hello. So my whole thing with that is I really think that, yes, she's going to play a pivotal role because they do learn that she can communicate with him. I think that it is kind of half and half. I really think he's knocked out. I think that they got, like they said in the trailer, their one shot at this of getting him away. I think they caught him off guard. I think that they came out with something that they could use to subdue him, whether it was, one of those darts from the mighty Monarch from, Brothers, I don't know. But I think that they have a one-shot deal where this girl either convinced him, that she needed his protection, because his whole role and his whole deal on that island is to keep the peace, keep the balance, and he always does seem to come to the rescue of people that he seems to bond with or care about, and he seemed to bond and care about this girl, and if she's actually able to communicate with him, either telepathically or whatever, those monsters that he's so fond of killing over here, then maybe he is kind of a willing host, and like he said, that's kind of just his way of keeping him on the boat and keeping him secure.
I like that. That's pretty good. Brandon.
Hey, whoops.
Surprise, it's your turn.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Whoa.
First of all, why has he got a collar? It's called fashion pad. Look it up.
Sorry.
But no, I think that it's gonna be a blind. I think they are gonna go in there and it's like you said, like it's going to be our only chance. And they say, like, this girl has a connection with him. Let's utilize that. We can get him to come peacefully and docilely. Like, we know that we can get him to do that with her helping us. And they start on that. And of course, just as it seems like, everything's going to go, it's a plan. It's either going to be like something happens and distracts him and he kind of goes, and they pull the trigger too quick, or some dickhead says, okay, just do it now, and they still like trank him, whatever, and then chain him up and try to pull him away.
Yeah, I can see that. Let's see who's left. Leo.
Yeah. Okay. So two different theories. One, both of them I think he totally goes on his own. The little girl definitely helps. I think the chains is kind of like Man of Steel, where he allows himself to get handcuffed and then he can break out of them at any time. So I think King Kong, same thing. He knows he can just get out of the chains at any time. Or since they're going on a trip, they give him a big glass of milk, like they had to give Mr. T. Yeah.
Like the A-Team?
Yep.
I don't fly, fool.
Yep.
B.A. Baracus.
B.A. Kong. Bad attitude Kong. Ashes, what about you? How do you think they capture him?
So I think it's partially him going on his own free will. I think this is all happening because it's not Godzilla, it's Mechagodzilla is going around and killing all of the other kaiju in order to be like the one and only, even though he's king of the monsters, which is weird. There's some holes in my theory. But anyways, that's kind of where I'm at. So instead of waiting for Godzilla to go to this island and potentially destroy Kong, they're trying to catch Mechagodzilla off guard, although they think it's Godzilla off guard. So they go and they, to Skull Island. They realize that this little girl has this connection with him. So they talk to her and convince her that this is for the best and that he needs to go. And so, she talks to Kong, communicates with him. He's going on his own free will. However, it's a long ride. And maybe they think that he's not going to travel well. I mean, I don't travel well. I don't fly well. I don't like boats.
We did have to chain you to the last boat.
Yeah, and I was wearing a collar, but that had nothing to do with the boat ride.
Imagine the horror of Kong getting seasick suddenly.
Cool. Whoa, look at all the banana chunks.
But I think that's which is why the collar and the chains and stuff come into play. It's to keep him in place. It's for his own protection.
It's a bark collar. It sprays him in the face every time he yells.
It's not even that. It's just to keep him upright. It's for his own safety, to keep him in his position so that he can travel as safely as possible.
See, I'm gonna go with they use the girl similar to, because Leo was talking about Middle Earth earlier, and this kind of made me think of the scene with Frodo and Gollum when he's like, "Yeah, come on, Gollum, come see me, come hang out," and then all the Gondorian guys grab him when he's in the moon pool, and he's like, "Kira, don't you go over there," or whatever the fuck he said. However he said it, I do a bad Andy Serkis impression. But he'll stroll over, and then they'll grab him, or they'll put a sign like "free gorilla seed," and then drop an anvil on his head. But yeah, I think the collar is there for as a last resort, it's electric or something, because we've seen in the 1962 version that Kong gets power-ups from getting hit by lightning, which is what we also saw in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla earlier today. Although in the first Godzilla, electricity repelled him, but in this one, if he gets hit by lightning 6 times, it gives him a massive power-up and he goes Super Saiyan. But, whatever.
Just real quick, do you know the story behind that?
Which part?
Godzilla or King Kong getting supercharged by electricity.
No, I don't believe I do.
From what I understand was it was originally supposed to be King Kong versus Frankenstein.
Yes, that's right.
And they couldn't get the rights, so they changed it to King Kong, but they kept that scene in there because Frankenstein was supposed to be zapped by lightning and supercharged and be able to attack.
That's right. I do remember hearing something like that.
And there was supposed to be a series of movies versus Frankenstein's monsters. So Godzilla versus different Frankenstein's monsters.
So similar to, War of the Gargantuas. So next,
evidently it was. Oh, I'm sorry. Evidently, according to the research I've done, evidently it was a Willis O'Brien idea. One of his last ideas before he passed on. He wanted to do King Kong versus giant Frankenstein monster, and eventually it was taken away from him and in the hands of Toho, and I guess we can figure the rest.
That makes sense. All right, so next question. Why will Monarch capture Kong? Are they doing it to kill Godzilla, to use as protection against him, or to experiment on Kong himself? And I will start with Colleen.
So I think I kind of touched on this a little bit, that the reason that they're getting Kong is because they're his, as they said, I think in the show it was like the last best hope or something like that, and they need him to take care of the monsters that are coming out of those little portals from Hollow Earth. But that's my theory. But also it kind of depends on which way they go. So if that's like a thing that's happening, then that's the reason. But if really the only thing that's happening right now that everyone is aware of is Godzilla going on a rampage, which is, really Mechagodzilla, then they don't really have anyone else left at this point that I'm aware of other than Kong that hasn't been touched or hasn't gone up against Godzilla. So that's possibly the only thing that they have left to do is just use Kong against him, and hopefully he'll be smart enough to repel him. And if they did happen to go, into, and it seems like they do find out the history of the two of them, because you see that one clip of oh my goodness, that actress that was in 11 in Stranger
Millie
Things.
Bobby Brown.
Thank you. I love her. I can't believe I couldn't remember her name. She is the one that goes on and saying, look at this. There's a history, and they had a war, and they're the last ones standing. And whether or not that actually applies to Godzilla versus Kong, or actually applies to Kong and the Kongs and his type in general, and the skull crawlers, is a whole thing, because that was actually almost word for word a line that was in the comics, when they had that spirit vision that told them the history of Kong's birth, was that there was a war between all of the apes and all of the skull crawlers that came out of Hollow Earth, and that were woken up by the bombs that they were dropping to map the island. So that it's one way or the other. So those are my two theories, depending on which way they decide to go with this movie. So either those are the breadcrumbs they're sprinkling, or I'm coming up with my own thing. But I'm excited either way. It's going to be a cool movie.
Well, Millie Bobby Brown joining Monarch, or following in her parents' footsteps, that would definitely say that was her prerogative. So nobody got that one. That makes me sad.
No, I got it. I got it. Is that what
That's what I was looking for. Yes. So, Leo, what about you?
Okay, my theories are going to be way out there.
They're all aliens, but they're all dead already, and this is a dream.
Okay, so I think Monarch. Okay, why does Monarch capture Kong? Definitely because he is the last resort. But they already know. Monarch knows, but not everybody else knows that it's Mechagodzilla, and they know that real Godzilla is down for the count. So they know King Kong is going to be their only hope, but they think that he can go to Hollow Earth to get additional help, or maybe that's where he gets the axe. So yeah, where was I going with that? Yeah.
Real Godzilla? Is that where you're going?
What's that?
Maybe he's going in to rescue real Godzilla. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think real Godzilla is like down for the count. He's in some facility somewhere. So I think they're getting King Kong because they know he's the only Titan left that they have control of, or that could possibly help. And maybe he can get other Titans to help, since Mechagodzilla maybe could be that strong that he took out Godzilla.
All right, that's fair. Christofer.
I'm thinking that the main conflict that's going on between Monarch and Apex is that Monarch basically wants to establish, a mutually beneficial relationship with the Titans. And it basically be on a, how do I put it? Basically, Godzilla will stay out of your way, and you do what you got to do, to protect the world from the hostile Titans. But there's a degree, I don't want to call it control, because Godzilla is basically yes. I wish I could have thought of that word. You put me to shame, but that's true. Symbiotic. That works, and but in terms of Apex, there's that other school of thought where all the Titans are bad and all of them should be destroyed. And I think what they're trying to do is to protect Kong from whatever is going around and destroying the Titans. But unfortunately, Godzilla, an ancient enemy, the real Godzilla, detects him and goes after him. That's the problem with taking Kong away from Skull Island.
Oh, that's a good call. Like taking him out of his area, because I forget if it was the novelization or one of the comic books or whatever. The only Titan who was able to resist the call of the Orca was Kong. Kong was like, "Oh, somebody else? Are they on Skull Island? Oh, they're not? Well, who gives a shit?" Like that was basically his rationale. Like, okay.
They're not bothering me.
Right. They're not here, then I don't have to worry about it. Like I've got
not my job.
Sorry, that is not in my job description. I take care of skull crawlers and triceratopses. That's it. So Jess, your theory.
I actually believe it's both.
Okay.
My working theory is that over decades, technology and everything has evolved, and now they have the technology and the means and stuff that they can actually go after Kong. And then what that does is removing him from that space. That's like, that's like the whole bunch. It's like having kids and the babysitter, walks out of the room and there's no one to supervise the kids. So what happens? All these other monsters realize, oh, he's not around anymore. We can do whatever we want. And then they start coming out of, the hollow earth. And so I think that it's both. I think that they initially went to experiment because they now have the technology and the means, and then it ends up just blowing up in their faces.
I like that. Yeah, except now eating ice cream for dinner is a slightly less of a threat as opposed to taking over the island completely. Like Kong is that apex that kind of keeps everything. It's sort of like many years ago when there was an issue with people thought there was an issue with wolves, so they shot and killed all the wolves, and then deer showed up with no natural predators and ate all the crops, and then they're like, shit, now we need to bring wolves in from other areas to keep the deer population in check. I think that's the same thing. Like we see that here in Massachusetts. Oh, we have to get rid of the sharks because they're scary. Oh, we have 900,000 fucking seals eating all the fish and affecting the jobs of the fishermen. Oh, well, it's probably the sharks' fault. Like that's what we see. And Colleen, you're towards the Cape. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So since I called on you, your turn.
Oh, I answered this one already.
Oh, sorry. Sorry,
I don't want about it again.
Let's go to Brandon.
Hi.
Sorry, we just forgot about you.
No worries. Patiently waiting. I'm fine. So anyway, I think it's going to start off as not necessarily an experiment on him, but more of an experiment to start to establish more meaningful communication, and their timetable and the severity of the situations, it's all going to be heightened because of what's occurring within the confines of the story with, Godzilla going, ape shit. And they are probably going to have to kind of push and really see what they can do to get that young girl to coax and convince Kong to come through, and that's when it's gonna oh shit, and they're gonna trank him and chain him up. But it's probably gonna start off as trying to see what they can do about being like, hey, we're okay, you're okay, and maybe you could help us figure out what's going on down here. Just the beginning stages of that, and everything kind of goes to shit because of the entire worldwide situation.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Leo's checking on his aliens and his snakes, so let's go to Ashes. They're snalians. Ashes, why will Monarch capture Kong?
So I think it's kind of a combination of what everyone has been saying for the most part. I think they're primarily going to go to Skull Island and capture him because, what better thing to best a kaiju than another kaiju? We saw that in the first legendary Godzilla film. Godzilla was called upon to best another kaiju. And I think that the scientists are going to be like, well, we have them, so maybe we do some experimentation on him.
But I have them.
You're here, I'm here. Let's do some stuff. Get some samples and do some sciencey stuff and see what happens.
You mind if we take some of your blood? Like, we'll put it back or not.
But I think the primary purpose of them going to Skull Island, because I feel like that's a place that they don't visit often. They don't really want to,
especially with that eternal, perpetual storm that surrounds them.
Right,
it's very hard.
I feel like their primary purpose of going and capturing Kong is to best Godzilla, who is Godzilla, quote unquote, who's going off the rails. And, they might take advantage of the fact that they have Kong in their presence.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kong in their presence, Leo Pond, everyone.
Oh, what did I do?
Well, it's like, whoa. I wouldn't say Kong in our presence. I might say gorilla in your midst.
Good night, everyone.
So, Leo, now that you're back, we can ask you this question.
What's up?
Why will Monarch capture Kong?
Oh, I answered.
Yeah,
okay, you did.
Everyone has answered.
Yeah. They're
good.
Why don't I have another drink?
I got a question for you.
Okay.
Will they throw in Godzuki for fan service?
I hope not.
One can only hope.
Hanna-Barbera owns Godzuki.
Oh, really?
Or are we once again? A lot of people mistake Godzuki in Manila from the Toho films, but there was actually an entirely separate entity. Hanna-Barbera didn't have the rights to use any Toho kaiju other than Godzilla, but a lot of people, whenever you mention Manila, his son, so-called son from the movies, people say, yeah, that's Godzuki. And when you say no, they say, well, where am I getting Godzuki from? I know I'm getting that from somewhere. Well, it's the Hanna-Barbera animated series.
How could you ever watch that cartoon and not remember that that's where Godzuki was from? It's part of the friggin' song at the beginning. Like, they even go like, and Godzuki. It's the most annoying thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, I'm not like super into this stuff. And today, while I was watching this shit with my wife, I was like, the only thing I know is that's almost like that stupid baby Godzilla from that cartoon.
I thought they were the same. I thought it was Godzuki, but I thought Godzuki was in the movies.
I would like to say
distinct.
Unequivocally 100%. So there is no ambiguity. Fuck Manila. Or Minya.
Sorry.
He sucks. He's the worst. Just want to throw that out there.
Was this like the Scrappy Doo to his Scooby Doo?
Yeah.
Like, not even Scrappy Doo, at least, like, could put up a fight.
Scrappy.
It was Scrappy, yeah.
Literally. As Ashes quoted him earlier when, what was it?
What'd you say, puppy power?
No, what fucking movie was it? It was one of those movies where he was forced to fight. I think it was Gabra, because
Godzilla's Revenge.
Godzilla's Revenge, yes, which had no revenge by Godzilla. It was
wonderful.
Where the little kid was imagining that he was seeing Minya or Manila, depending on which version that you are seeing, the American or Japanese, and he meets him for the first time, and he's hiding from bullies, and Minya is also hiding from a bully, Gabra, who fucking sucks. But he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just sitting around lonesome because I got no friends." It's like, oh my god, you suck so much. Like, that's the first thing he speaks, and that's the first thing you hear him say. It's like, oh god, you suck so much. You are the worst. You are the worst.
Where
Pat,
could you find
stop
friends
beating
on
around the
Monster Island
bush.
anyway?
Just tell us how you feel.
I know. So I have a couple more questions before we wrap this up, because we've been going just about 2 hours now. So next to last, the penultimate question: will larval or full-grown Mothra make an appearance? And I'm gonna save you for last, because I know Mothra is your very favorite. Hopefully we will see the all black and gray Gothra, because she went through that phase and spent a lot of time at Hot Topic. But we will start with
Emo is not
Colleen. Will larval or full-grown Mothra make an appearance?
I want her to, because she is the queen of my heart as well as the queen of the monsters. And I don't see it happening, though. I want it to, but I don't see it.
Even though they mentioned having an egg in the post-credits newspaper clippings of King of the Monsters?
I don't remember hearing that.
They didn't say it. They were.
No, I had no idea. Oh, then yes, she will definitely be there, because she needs to be there, because I will be very sad if she's not. But I didn't know that there was an egg.
Will we see larval Mothra or full grown?
I think it's going to be a significant amount of time between the end of King of the Monsters and this film. So I think that it would be full grown. If they're going to show, it's going to be full grown.
All right. Jess.
I hope to God that Mothra shows up. I hope so much. And I do think that it's going to be full grown Mothra.
All right. Leo.
Full grown. Yeah, I think there's gonna be I think they're all gonna gather towards at the end. She's gonna show up at the end with other kaiju to defeat Mechagodzilla.
Christofer.
I'm thinking, come on, Mothra has to make an appearance. I'm sorry, but Legendary just has to have a major surprise for us in there somewhere. And I'm thinking, yeah, she pops up unexpectedly towards the end.
Larval or full grown?
Oh, full grown. It's got to be full grown. So she flies to the rescue. I can envision a variation of that scene already.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see Mothra full grown. It's going to be towards the end. I pretty much, I'm right there with Leo. I think that's exactly how it's going to go down.
Ashes.
So yes, we are going to see Mothra. Yes, she's going to be full grown. And that's going to be the surprise, because, we know of the eggs. So I feel like it wouldn't be a surprise if we saw her in the larval form, but I do think it would be a surprise if we see her full grown. And I think she's going to be the reason why King Kong and Godzilla and whoever else are able to ultimately defeat the penultimate villain, the ultimate villain in this. I have some theories, and I don't.
Well, now's the time.
Fine. So I think that she's going to be the one who awakens, wherever Godzilla is. We don't know where he is right now. We're thinking that this Mechagodzilla thing is Godzilla. And so I think once they realize, hey, this isn't Godzilla, this is Mechagodzilla, where is Godzilla? And I think that the fairies, or the woman who, the woman who has a connection with the Mothra character, the Mothra lineage. I think that she is going to, do something to kind of awaken Mothra or call upon Mothra who has been, from egg to larval to full grown state, just growing, between the last film and this film. She is going to, be called upon to awaken Godzilla, because let's face it, I mean, Godzilla really is nothing without Mothra.
She did save him in the last film.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see her sacrifice herself again for him.
Oh, that's what she does. That's like her deal.
That's like their relation. Yeah.
Will we get an updated version of the Mothra song? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, it's going to be like a rap version, like what we saw in the trailer. All right, I am going to break with everyone, and I'm going to say we are going to see double larval Mothra. The egg's going to crack open. There's going to be 2 larvas that pop out, and they're going to shoot their little webby string stuff at them.
Well, I like what Ashes says about, that, 3-time grandmothered Monarch lady having a connection with the Mothra and possibly, finding or awakening them or whatever. But if we remember in the King of the Monsters, Little Miss Bobby Brown there had a thing with Mothra even before the orca was turned on. They kind of had shared a little bit of a connection, so maybe she could be the one that kind of either awakens them out of their larval state or is able to communicate that, hey, we're kind of looking for Godzilla, or we want to know what's wrong with him. So that could be a thing as well.
I see. I can imagine Zi Zhang, her character. I can't remember her character name, but I remember her name because I think she's a phenomenal.
Same thing.
Seeing her oh, we have to sing the Mothra song to wake her up. Wake up! All right. So since we are running pretty long, we've gone over 2 hours.
Wait, her wake-up song is System of a Down?
Yeah.
I was just, damn it! Wake up! Make up!
Instead of over and over saying Mothra over and over again, then you got Bradley Whitford going, hey, you think they worked hard on these lyrics? So final question, and we're going to start with Christofer. Who wins?
Come on, it's got to be Godzilla. I mean, much as we love Kong, and I'll always love Kong, and I'll appreciate everything he's done for the genre. I mean, he was the first. 1933 goes all the way back. He jump-started the genre, even if he didn't become a major thing after him. He certainly was, the prototype, and he's had staying power, and I appreciate it. But come on, Godzilla has always been known as king of the monsters. No way does Kong take it from him, but I think Kong will give a good fight, and I think ultimately both teams will be cool with each other because Kong and Godzilla will have to team up against a common foe. So Team Kong will kind of forgive Team Godzilla for getting the bragging rights.
Jess.
I agree. I think that they will end up having to team up, and then it will be all of the monsters against the Mechagodzilla, and we're going to find out that that's actually the Mechagodzilla, and then, they'll forgive each other, and bygones will be bygones, and they will fight together for the greater good.
Colleen.
Oh, hey, dude. So I'm still going with my thing where I believe that Kong is actually going to defeat the first Godzilla, Mechagodzilla. I think that they're going to give him that win. And then it's revealed that it's a robot, whatever. I think that they go on this little thing to find the real Godzilla. I think that's where Mothra's going to come in to lead them to awaken Godzilla from wherever he is. And then they're going to come out with that, mega Mechagodzilla or whatever, where it's, bigger and better, and it's going to have to go up against either all the monsters or Kong and the real Zilla, because in no realm of anything is Kong going to defeat this version of real Godzilla, because he reduced Ghidorah to ash. He was so OP. Like, there's no way that super smart, awesome monkey with a hammer, and I really like his little hammer or axe or whatever you're going to call it. It's awesome. It's legendary. It's got lore behind it. It's beautiful. I'm all for it. I think it's going to make a fantastic thing, and I think that's how he kills original mini Mechagodzilla. But overall, with the two of them at their best, there's no way that Kong defeats real Godzilla. Giving this win to Zilla.
Leo.
Okay, I'm gonna say, Colleen, I like your theory. I think they're not gonna fight at all, and I think it's gonna be similar to what you said, where he's not gonna defeat Mechagodzilla, but he's going to realize that it is Mechagodzilla. He's going to, with the axe, he's going to rip part of his skin off or something like that. Then when he sees the real Godzilla, he's going to know the difference. And I think that he's going to get his ass kicked at first, and it's going to be sort of like Rocky, where they do the fight, he loses, they do a training montage, and then they all come back together and
to see Godzilla pounding a glass full of eggs.
Yeah,
and they're all monster eggs.
Yeah.
He's fighting the boxes of meat, or the frozen cow,
the hanging carcasses of other kaiju.
Yeah.
Oh, they have their first get-together meet-up in the trailer where they're just transporting Kong on this giant aircraft carrier, and that's when they first have the clash. So I don't think that Kong's going to win that one. Godzilla's got the water, so I think that's where he has his Rocky moment, where he gets beat up, and then he does get a training montage. That's when he gets his little axe, and then that's where I think he defeats that little mini Mechagodzilla. So I agree with Leo.
Cool.
All right. Pow bra.
Pow bra. Oh man, I hope that becomes a thing. So I actually pretty much agree with Leo. I mean, both Freddy and Jason lived at the end. That's basically how I feel about this. All right, I think Kong's going to go up against what we see to be Mechagodzilla. He gets his ass handed to him. That's why Mechagodzilla is able to get away. It turns into some crazy, mega stupid thing that both Kong and Godzilla, the real Godzilla, are going to work together to defeat.
I think that's a pretty good idea. Ashes, what do ye think?
Well, I think this is actually a really good battle for this week. First of all, who do you think is going to win?
Oh, yeah.
The killer kaiju battle, Godzilla or King Kong. So we'll definitely be posting that.
Sandbox's Earth.
Yes, sandboxes, Earth, anywhere. I kind of agree with what everyone has been saying for the most part. I think good is going to triumph over evil. Take that as you will.
That's not usually the way it works in life.
Say what?
That's why we go to the movies.
That's true.
I think that, kind of, reflecting what everyone else has said, they're going to end up teaming up. There's going to be a big team up to face, the ultimate villain, whatever that may be. And,
His name is Jerry.
So Godzilla and Kong are going to team up to defeat Jerry. And
Mecha Alan Jonah. Mecha Charles Dance.
Mecha Tywin Lannister. That's my opinion.
I think I also agree that it's going to be Godzilla, but I don't think it will be super easy, barely an inconvenience. I think it will be super difficult, very much an inconvenience.
Do you think this is going to set up for another film?
I think this is going to set up for a whole series of films, hopefully. I know that this is kind of like the end of Legendary's attachment to this set of kaiju. Like, they were able to get Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah, and Godzilla, but their contract with Toho kind of like ran out with this film, and I don't know if they've been able to renew that, especially where we got to see Shin Gojira, which has now turned into a franchise itself with Shin Ultraman, which I'm very much looking forward to. Even though I'm not overly familiar with Ultraman or any of his like cast of characters, his rogues gallery, so to speak. But I like the fact that, I almost said Monarch. Legendary has done such a good job with these characters to the point where Toho has decided, like, ooh, they did a really good job here. This is not, 1998 Godzilla. Like, they're doing a great job. They've been very true to the characters. We need to come up with a new one. And like, they made their Godzilla even bigger than 2014 Godzilla by like, a small margin. And then, the King of the Monsters version of Godzilla was like 4.5 feet taller, just like, it's definitely what they call it in Bob's Burgers, a peeing race.
Yes.
As opposed to a pissing contest.
But I think the fantastic part about all of these films combined, especially the ones that are coming out recently, is that it's introducing a new generation to these characters. And I know some people with kids and stuff, their kids are very much interested in these new kaiju films, and their interest is peaking. They're going back into the cinematic universe and going back to some of these older films and really delving into the lore and stuff. So I think anytime you can introduce classic beloved characters to a new generation, it's always a good thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, Godzilla's got to leave using the escalator. Sorry.
We are, by the way, getting a Kong. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, we are getting a Kong animated series that takes place in the MonsterVerse that'll be premiering on Netflix. I ask everyone to go on YouTube or Google it. I've heard a lot about it recently, so it is returning in that sense. So I guess they still have Kong.
Yeah, it takes place during John C. Reilly's time as a young man on the island, like when he and I believe his Japanese friend is Kenji. I believe the two of them. It's like their story of the time that they spent on the island, learning to live with the natives and whatnot. Obviously, prior to Tom Hiddleston and his group showing up.
That's pretty cool. I really liked his plot line, like storyline through Kong Skull Island. That was a really effective part of that movie, I found.
Yeah, and him seeing his wife and his son for the first time.
Yeah, it was great, dude. Like, for real. I was actually genuinely impressed with Kong Skull Island. I was kind of pissed at myself that I hadn't seen it by the time I finished it. I was like, I should have fucking watched this on my own.
We've seen all of them in the theater just because, like, I love these movies, and I think I've kind of gotten you really into them, especially the newer ones. Maybe not so much the older ones, but definitely the legendary MonsterVerse. I mean, you were already a fan of Gamera.
I love Gamera.
Gamera is really neat, and
he's filled with meat.
Filled with meat. We all love him, Gamera. So I want to thank you guys all for not only joining me, but for spending a little over 2 hours with me and Ashes and talking about Godzilla and some of these cool theories and wild speculation. And I know Leo loves the aliens and stuff. That's where he is planted his flag, and that's where he's going to stay.
Well, I don't. I just think they need a bigger thing to go into the next series for.
It's not totally wrong, especially where Patsy brought up like Ultraman and stuff like that. If we were ever going to introduce Ultraman to the American cinema, like, this would be a great way to do it, because he is kind of like a galactic. He's almost like Voltron, only it's a singular person. And
he's
like
just one dude.
Yeah, he turns himself into like a kaiju size awesome guy, and you know, with Ghidorah being introduced and being like, you know, an extraterrestrial being, why not have an extraterrestrial basically police force show up? I mean,
didn't they have an Ultraman show? Didn't they show it on Fox on Saturday mornings for a while back in the 90s?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they
Ultraman Tiga. I think it was Ultraman Tiga.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
but
never
wasn't
really
as
watched it.
cool. Yeah, not many people did, so it didn't really catch on.
But
there was an American-made series of Ultraman. I believe it was called Ultraman Towards the Future. Am I correct?
You might
an
be.
American Ultraman series.
I honestly don't know.
Maybe.
A lot of people didn't watch it because they
I
looked
had the
at
videos.
Not being
but
familiar.
Didn't
looked at
catch on.
a rip-off of the Power Rangers,
Mm.
which in itself was a Japanese show.
Humans are funny.
I wouldn't hate seeing a potential crossover with the Pacific Rim verse.
Oh, I would love that so much. I really enjoyed those movies, both of them, honestly.
I know Ashes loves it. It took me like 5 years to get her to watch it, and she finally did, and she loves it. She goes, "Oh man, Pacific Rim job, it's the best."
Oh my god!
I would love to see Godzilla get a Pacific Rim job.
Marvelous.
Oh my god!
Fucking A, dude.
Oh, I love it.
One of my favorite Christmas tree ornaments that Ashes got me.
Oh, did you see they're going to have a Funko where he's shooting the fire?
Yes. And there's a variant that glows in the dark.
Yeah.
I have a Godzilla, and I have like the big one, and I have a Kong Skull Island where he's holding a helicopter.
Nice.
I want to get a Godzilla piggy bank.
Like the Lucky Cat.
Yeah, I want a piggy bank.
See, I want to get the Godzilla humidifier.
I've seen that. That's on my
Yes.
Where the mist is the atomic breath. That's awesome. That is so awesome.
Yes.
I would steal it from you if you got it.
That'd be a hell of a drive, Chris.
Oh, you're probably
considering well, for medical reasons, I can't drive right now, so that'd be a hell of a hitch. I'd hitch over there to get it.
Oh. Can you cover my Uber? I will say, though, this was on my birthday cake several years ago. The batteries have died, but he used to, when he opened his mouth, it would be blue. But yeah, he is a full. What year was that?
It was
like
for your 30. It may have been for your 35th birthday.
Because I'm a grown up.
And then I got these cute little Godzilla rings and put them on cupcakes for people.
Aww, that's adorable.
You know, we're grown up.
We did a Star Wars theme for my 30th. So
I had a nice black and white Godzilla thing, and it was like kept in its little box, and then Odin decided that he loved it so much I couldn't say no, so I just gave it to him. Odin's my 2-year-old. So
I did get this. Yeah.
I believe it is that same one.
Yeah, he's
mine's the shorter snub snout one.
Yeah, this is the 1954. This is 1954 Godzilla.
Yes, must be.
And then who does the really awesome figures?
NECA?
Yeah, NECA has put out some really fantastic
Burning Godzilla.
The different eras of Godzilla that I'm dying to get my hands on. I'm dying to get my hands on I think it's the 50.
Yeah,
it might be the 54 version.
Joe, where's my stimulus? I need Godzilla figures. But yes, we're gonna wrap this up because we're going almost 2.5 hours, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time and spending time with us. So we're going to ask where folks like to be followed on social media, starting with Chris. Chris, where do you like folks interacting with you on social media, and where can folks find your work as well?
Well, other than Amazon, where you can find me just by putting Christofer Nigro in the search engine in Amazon, spelled with an F, not a PH, Christofer with an F, or go to my public group, Wild Hunt Press, which is for my label. You could talk to me there anytime, and anyone's welcome, and yeah.
So spelled like, hold on, like that?
See?
What a dick!
Not wrong. He's a whole dick with the balls.
What an asshole!
Oh, come on, that's funny shit.
It's
you
the
know
Steven thing all over again. Steven with a PH.
Brandon, that was just for you.
I love you so much.
Oh, and I'll have a website soon. So yeah, I'll keep you informed.
Yeah, and you've got one of my stories that's hopefully going to be included in the Duel of the Monsters Volume 2.
Oh, I'm going to soon edit it. I've already checked out the first couple paragraphs. It's in, man.
All right.
Duel of the Monsters Volume 2, it's in.
Oh, awesome. All right, next up, let's see. Let's go in order. Jess, where can folks find you?
They can find me on Facebook at Jessica Snyder Model, or Instagram. I believe that my handle is Hot Wheels Model _official, or it's something like that.
I'll put links in the show notes.
But yeah, that's where they can find me, Facebook or Instagram.
And they'll be able to find you in a feature film, hopefully coming out probably not this year, probably next year.
2022 is what we're looking at. Yes.
And I think this is the start to quite a few things for you, and I think you'll be in quite a bit of the horror genre, and I'm looking forward to that.
Hey, if it makes me busy, I'll be happy. If it keeps me busy, I'll be happy.
Colleen, where can folks find you and your work?
Yeah, well, this is technically my first little live or video casted anything, but I am going to be doing some podcasting with Amalga-Mania. So you can find me on their Facebook page, Amalga-Mania, the way it sounds. And you can also find me on my own Facebook page, Colleen. So it's kind of spaced out, COL space LE space EN.
No weirdos.
Yeah, we are weirdos, and I believe also might be on Spotify, Amalga Cast, which right now I haven't been on, but I will be shortly. So,
yes,
where you can find me.
Leo, what about you?
Well, I'm kind of hard to find, but if you just Google Leo Pond, like I always say, just Google me. You'll find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not. I'm not going to say which is which. But more importantly, head on over to thedorkening.com, which you can find just about 30 shows on a network, maybe more by now. And a lot of our shows are now showing up on Hellfire Radio. So tune into Hellfire Radio through Live 65 or go to hellfireradio.com. But tons of different shows on the network, a lot of awesome stuff. And like I said earlier, I do 4 shows a week. We do the Indie Creator Spotlight with me and Patsy. And then Tuesday we do the comic book show Splash Pages, and then Wednesday we do Still Token with. I produce that for them, and then the Dorkening. And yeah, fun stuff.
Leo does quite a bit. It's not every day you get to chat with an anthropomorphic body of water,
and a snake killer.
Wielding axes.
Those stories will haunt me for days.
Powerful Brand, where can folks find you and your shenaniganizing?
Fanrific, man. So you guys can find me. I run a group on Facebook called Powers Combined, all capitalized with an exclamation point. With purpose.
3 exclamation points, pirate flag.
But yeah, it's a group. We discuss. I mean, it's just a geek culture thing altogether. I'm a big movie, comic book, TV nerd and such. So I started the group with a buddy of mine, Pat Ashes. You guys are involved in it too. You're admins. You guys have been there for quite some time. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter at my handle is @Brandon's Powers. Because I'm super original. And you could also find me anywhere where they sell plus size plaid button down shirts for men. And
Tangle hats.
Oh, for sure. That's I mean, come on, buddy. And lastly, if anybody out there is looking to make some extra cash right now, so am I. So let me know.
Ash, where can folks find us?
Our house.
That's where we live.
Oh, you you can find us everywhere. Search for Throwdown Thursday. The best place to go is ThrowdownThursdayPodcast.com. That's where you'll find some fun articles that we've written and links to our latest episodes and all of our social medias and all of that fun stuff. Deadly Grounds Coffee, a whole bunch of stuff. So
Throwdown Thursday podcast on YouTube as well as if you're not watching this on YouTube at the moment and you want to because you want to see all these delightful people and all their delightful faces, you can do that. Yep. See, you got Colleen over there being adorable in front of her droids, and I just want to thank you guys for taking the time. And I had a lot of fun with this. This was a good time. I was looking forward to this all week, and we're definitely going to have to do another follow up to see how right or wrong we were once the movie drops, and we'll have to do another episode. But until then. I think that's a good time to wrap up. And wait, everybody all together. You ready? We will see you next
Wednesday.
This is why we shouldn't have skipped rehearsal in the fact that we didn't have rehearsal at all, and I just sprung this on everyone.
Or even why we should have planned one.
why we should have planned one.
A countdown?
All right, so 3, 2, 1. Are you ready?
What are we saying again?
That's the thing. The part that you skipped out on was like, hey, we're going to say this thing.
Yeah. All right, hold on. Ready? Let me spell it right. This is making for some compelling sounds.
Yes.
You're building up the anticipation. So
Okay.
Shivering.
All right, you ready? We will see you next Thursday. Yes. That's as good as it's going to get, folks. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye.